Am I the asshole for telling my sister not to come to my wedding if she kept bringing up her miscarriage? 3 years ago, my younger sister Jen had a miscarriage at 9 weeks. She and her partner Scott were devastated. I was there for them as much as I could be, but it was a tough time for them. A few months later, Scott left Jen. Jen said it was because of the miscarriage. Her and Scott had a close-knit group of friends, and I found it odd no one has checked on her, so I rang her best friend to suggest a girls' night. She told me the reason they had broke up. Jen had slept with someone else. When he confronted her, she blamed the miscarriage. 9 months ago, I got engaged and asked Jen to be my mo. At our engagement party, Jen became inconsolable at seeing our friend's baby. Everyone's focus, including mine, was on Jen all night. I wasn't upset with her. I figured that she was imagining what all these big family events would be like with a baby, so I gave her grace. Since then, anything to do with the wedding, she brings up her miscarriage, but only at events related to my wedding. I asked her to help me pick flowers, and she lost it when she saw baby blue roses. She's convinced she was having a boy, and we had to leave. When we went wedding dress shopping, and she picked out a maternity bridesmaid dress, and asked to try it on, so that she could see how she would have looked. When she did that, I thought she's actually lost it, and had to walk away when she started stuffing a cushion up her dress. I have tried to talk to her about going to counseling again, but she is insisting this is a normal part of the grieving process. She planned my hen party, which I was so grateful for, but I found out after she'd sent everyone a list of rules, which included no talking about pregnancy or kids, no wearing baby blue, etc., etc. I confronted her, but I was gentle about it. I suggested counseling again, and said I was there for her, but also that if she wanted to impose any other rules on anything to do with my wedding, she had to come to me first. It all came to a head when one of my friends and bridesmaids announced she was pregnant. She will be 7 months at the wedding. After the announcement, Jen called her and said it would be best if she didn't come because she couldn't maintain her peace if she was forced to be reminded of the loss of her child. I lost it when I found out and said she was using her miscarriage to get attention, and if she made one more demand, or made a single comment about it at anything wedding related, she was uninvited, and in either case she is no longer my mo. Since then, Jen has told everyone I've dumped her from the wedding for being too upset about the loss of her baby. In retaliation, and have told everyone and anyone who will listen the real reason her and Scott broke up. Half our friends and family think I'm an asshole, half think she is. I'm still horrifically angry, and stuck in a place where I'm not sure if I'm rightly angry or if I should be more understanding. Am I the asshole? //edit //. A couple of people have said I went too far telling people about the reasons why she broke up with Scott. And I can take that, but just for context, I had multiple people reach out to me who she had spoken to first. Each essentially said I was being a / for dumping her from the wedding for having a miscarriage, and said something along the lines of she's lost her partner and her sister because she lost her baby. I felt I needed to correct them that she actually lost neither of us, because if the miscarriage, she lost us because of her actions since, and her blaming the miscarriage is part of a pattern of behavior. I didn't go into details, just said actually she lost Scott because she cheated on him, and she lost me because she uninvited one of my bridesmaids without my knowing because she is pregnant. I was upset and hurt that they were saying this to me, and also that she wanted everyone to think I was the sort of person who would dump my sister because she lost a baby, so I lashed out by telling them what actually happened with Scott. I suppose as a way to defend myself. But again, if the consensus is that this was too far, I'll accept that and take it on the chin. Not the asshole. Is this grief, though? It looks more like she is weaponizing the miscarriage to gain sympathy and attention from others and making grief her whole personality. Has she always made everything about herself? How was the relationship before the miscarriage? Not the asshole. She needs some major therapy. She lost a baby she was barely pregnant with 3 years ago. Not that the loss will go away, but the fact that everything in her life is run by it is not at all healthy. She needs to do some serious unpacking of the amount of loss surrounding the baby and her relationship ASAP. No wearing baby blue. Your sister has lost her damn mind. Not the asshole. Honestly, I would consider her cutting her out of your life along with the wedding. What is she going to do if, when you get pregnant? I get it, miscarriage is devastating. But it has been 3 years. Not the asshole, I had twins stillborn at 5 months. I made it out to the other side by the skin of my teeth. She's being ridiculous at best, We don't get to trauma dump and steal other people's joy. And if she can't handle seeing your friend pregnant, then she doesn't go. There was a family baptism soon after I lost my girls. I quietly didn't go, gave my sincere regrets, and everyone understood. It's been 3 years. My miscarriage happened also 3 years ago, nearly 4. My youngest brother-in-law had his son just a month after, and I could make it not about myself. It was fucking hard, but my hubs and I managed. Your sister needs to hold of about the weaponized miscarriage. Because that's what it is at this point, because she's refusing any and all help and throws her past grief around like confetti the moment she wants things her way. Not the asshole. I imagine that losing a baby, it's a hard moment, but it was 3 years ago. People say to not put a deadline to someone else's grief. But come on. 3 years, and she still does this show. She is an attention seeker. She is not suffering. Not the asshole. She had it coming when she lied for the reason she was dumped by her ex, and for why she is no longer the mo at your wedding. Am I the asshole for not wanting to take a government job, just so my family can keep their house? I'm 19. My dad works a senior government job, and our family lives in an official government house. When he retires, we're supposed to move out. We don't own any other house. Because of that, my family wants me to join government service at a lower scale, so they can try to get the house transferred or reallotted under my name. The thing is, I recently found out that if I do that, the house would be directly tied to my job. If I ever quit, resign, or get transferred, we'd lose the house again. I don't actually want a government job. I'm not interested in that career path at all. The main reason they want me to do it is just so the house issue is delayed or handled. I feel like once I take the job, I'll never be able to leave because the moment I do, it becomes, you made us homeless. I have siblings, including older ones, but for some reason the pressure is mostly on me. I get why my family is scared, but I also feel like I'm being asked to lock myself into something for life at 19 out of guilt. I haven't outright refused yet, but I feel really uncomfortable and trapped just thinking about it. Am I the asshole for not wanting to take a job, knowing I'd basically be stuck forever because of the house? Not the asshole. Your parents' lack of planning is not your emergency, nor is it your responsibility to solve for them. Do not clip your own wings, sacrificing your future, because they didn't think this all through. Not the asshole. Your father has worked for long enough to reach retirement. He's known this was coming for long enough to come up with a solution that isn't, I'll tie my child to a job they don't want in perpetuity so that we can keep a roof over our heads. Don't do what they want. Say no firmly. This isn't a solution. Not the asshole. You're 19 and being asked to lock your entire future to a job you don't want out of fear and guilt. That's not fair. Housing is a family problem, not something you should be forced to sacrifice your life for. It's okay to say no to being trapped. But for some reason the pressure is mostly on me. Are you the youngest? If so, it's their last chance to make it happen. It could be they already tried this with your siblings and failed. Not the asshole. Hopefully you are already looking into other living arrangements. This is just not a healthy dynamic. Not the asshole. You are too young to be responsible for housing for your family. Moreover, you may get married one day, and your parents will depend on you in terms of housing. This sounds like one hell of a mess, to be honest, and trouble waiting to start. Not the asshole. Interview for the job. Start the interview by apologizing and explaining your situation. When you get your rejection, notice your family will figure something out. Am I the asshole for refusing to comply with my friend's NYE tradition? My 23F best friend has a friend group from high school. Most of them live abroad and only come back a few times a year. I, 24F, like them a lot. They, as a group, have only one issue: they tend to be unreliable with plans, back out last minute, often disregard scheduling responsibilities. They have a tradition of celebrating New Year's Eve together every year. Last year my friend hosted it, since the group failed to book a spot, and she was very upset that it was just me and her doing all the work of hosting, cooking, and cleaning. This year, after a plethora of plans fell through and my friend said she was sick of trying to schedule everything, I offered that the two of us, together with my mom, go to a small villa in the mountains, booked via my mom's job, so it's a bit of an ordeal. This was 3 months ago. My friend happily agreed. A month after that, she told me that the group had decided to go celebrate at the same village where the villa was located. I was happy and offered that we hang out for the days when they were there, and that we all go skiing. At this point we hadn't booked the villa, and I assured my friend that if she felt like backing out and celebrating with the friend group instead, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be able to join them because I wouldn't leave my mom all alone, and she explicitly said she doesn't want to go sit in a restaurant all night. Friend said she would be spending the holiday with us. A few weeks later, my mom proposed that we invite my friend's mom and sister as well, to which she agreed, and my mom paid for the villa. Recently, my friend texted me saying, and I quote, "I have decided to spend New Year's Eve, only the celebration, with my friends." I asked my mom, and she said it was okay with her. I was shocked. I asked her where she was planning to have her mom and sister go, and she said they'd be staying with us. I like them, but my mom and them aren't friends. I explained to my friend that I was unhappy with the situation, and that I felt as if she traded me in. She assured me that that's not the case, since we'd be spending the rest of the days together. I feel that really she'd be spending the rest of the time with the high school friend group. She told me that SHE invited them to come to the village, and I'd be joining them along, although I'm the one hosting her. I explained that, and she answered that she would feel so miserable knowing that they'd be in the same city, and she won't be celebrating with them. She said she agreed to invite her mom and sister, so that me and mom aren't lonely. Wild. I decided to call off our plans, so she could go and celebrate with the friend group all together, and she seemed happy with that outcome. She apologized that she didn't realize she would be so sad about it sooner, but conveyed I'm inflexible for not agreeing to leave my mom with her mom and sister and go with her. Now she won't so much as look at me. We've not spoken since. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Why would she think you'd want to spend NY with her mom and sister without her? That's weird. Your mom would be stuck hosting strangers while friend parties without you with the people she was avoiding in the first place. She's not much of a friend, to be honest. Not the asshole. Time for new friends. There really isn't much more to say. This is really manipulative and strange of her, and immature to boot. It's wildly inappropriate for her to hand off her mom and sister to keep you guys company. Anyone with 2 brain cells would see why that is super rude and ungracious towards you and your mom as hosts. I really hope you've called the whole thing off. You aren't on the hook to host members of her family when she herself is ditching you to go hang out with the other flakes, meaning flaky planners. Not the asshole. It seems like you became the backup plan when her flaky friends ended up being available. It sucks, but your ability to plan will serve you better than this friendship. She said she agreed to invite her mom and sister so that me and mom aren't lonely. Wild. She apologized that she didn't realize she would be so sad about it sooner, but conveyed I'm inflexible for not agreeing to leave my mom with her mom and sister and go with her. I know I'm not hanging out with you anymore, and that was pretty much the point of this trip, but I got you 2 babysitters. If you didn't want to hang out with the babysitters, you could just come with me and abandon your mom instead, even though you said up front that you wouldn't do that either. Why are you mad? What a clueless and selfish egotist. She is no friend. Canceling plans was the only thing you could have done given these circumstances. Not the asshole. She can't really blame her friends for being unorganized. She's as bad as they are, LOL. Am I the asshole for adjusting my mirrors? I'm writing this post because of an altercation I had with a complete stranger. I have difficulty driving at night because of all the bright headlights. I know some cars come stock with them, and you can't control that. You can, however, control how closely you follow other people. If someone is tailgating me or stops so closely behind me at a red light it blinds me through my mirrors. I've started to adjust my mirrors so their headlights will be reflected back at them. Now, one day I was on my way home from work. Being outside all day left me cold, wet, and tired. All of a sudden, a guy, probably early 20s, in his lifted truck starts tailgating, flashing his brights and light bar, trying to get me to move out of his way. I could have, but my turn was coming up, so instead I stayed in my lane and adjusted my mirrors. It must have worked, because he backed off. Or so I thought. He ended up following me home just to yell at me, saying how I could have caused him to crash. I told him, and tailgating in the rain doesn't prevent that either. After about 10 minutes, I told him he'd better get going before I call the cops and have their lights blind him for trespassing. He peeled out of my driveway, cussing me out some more. So I gotta ask, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. They shouldn't tailgate. And I didn't know this was a thing. LOL. Not the asshole. Apparently I'm not the only person who has gotten good at changing mirror adjustment when a jacked-up truck with LED lights that weren't re-aimed is behind me. Good to know. No, but you should have called police once you noticed them following you. Now the kid knows where you live, And kids/people these days are crazier than hell without remorse. Kid/truck was in the wrong 100%. Only thing you done wrong was let them follow you home honestly. I respond with a donation from my change cup with said cars. Bit of an adrenaline rush as the local PD has the same bright lights, but their lights are adjusted properly. But they also do not deal with the headlight issues, so someone has to. Not the asshole, those headlights are awful. There's a whole sub about it or /fuck your red lights. Not the asshole. Next time drive straight to the police station. You have to be more self-aware. Who the fuck argues with a complete stranger in the rain for 10 minutes? Cut the shit and go to a safe place like a police station next time. Not the asshole, because road rage is never okay nor justified.